It is April 30th, 2024. The time is 2 p.m. I'm calling this meeting to order, and in attendance are Commissioners Matari and Duncan. Commissioner Brooks is excused, and please join us for a moment of silence.
And if I could, Commissioner Duncan, I'd like to dedicate this to Deputy Tobin down in Ada County. Today is his funeral, and as an opportunity to show our support to our friends and neighbors down in Ada County, we just dedicate this moment of silence to him. It's the first sheriff's deputy in their entire history of the sheriff's office that's been killed in the line of duty.
Okay.
So.
Right. All right, thank you, and thank you, Deputy, for your service. All right, Pledge Allegiance. So, Gaston, would you like to do that?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. All right, any changes to the agenda?
No.
We're handling the other thing
Next week, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so public comment. Anybody from the audience? Not hearing any. Commissioner Brooks has public comment today. So although he is out this next week, he wanted to let us know that his intention is to be at the Veterans Town Hall on May 7th. However, in the event he cannot, he's arranged that Tom Freeman, our Veteran Service Officer, will stand in for him. Tom is 30 years retired senior warrant officer and the county's Veteran Service Officer, and there's no one more qualified. So that's her bill. All right, I would take a motion to approve meeting minutes.
I move that we approve the meeting minutes, items 1 and 2.
Second.
Commissioner Matari?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye. Do you want to go back and forth, or you want to?
I'm happy just to run through them real quick if you'd like.
Let's go.
Okay, I move that we approve the consent calendar, items 3 and 4.
Second.
Commissioner Matari?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye. Payables.
Okay, that one I need a second for. I
Page
move.
21.
Yep, I move that we approve the payables list for April 22 through 26, 2024, in the amount of $2,054,405.35.
Second.
Commissioner Matari?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye. All right, item 6. This is a bid award, and it's for bid number 20HFR1. It's with 2M Services LLC for the Glencairn FireSmart Grant, Units 1 through 11, 19 acres, in the amount of $43,700. And Ms. Littlefield.
Yes, this is Andrea Littlefield for the record. Kootenai County Office of Emergency Management respectfully requests that the Board of County Commissioners approve the bid award for the Glencairn FireSmart Grant for 19 acres of hazardous fuel treatment. We had 2 responsive bidders respond to our notice of bidding, and 2M Services LLC garnered the lowest bid.
Questions, motion?
No questions. I move that we approve the bid award, bid number 20HFR1, 2M Services LLC, Glencairn FireSmart Grant, Units 1 through 11, 19 acres, $43,700 with the Office of Emergency Management.
Second.
Commissioner Matari?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye. Item 7, grant use, or it's a grant agreement, looks like it's use number 23NONE002, and it's an amendment to the agreement between Kootenai County Office of Emergency Management and North Kootenai Water and Sewer District. It is a federal emergency management award in the amount of, well, this looks like it's already on. Okay. All right, Andrea, I'll have a question for you on this one. $419,984.63 in-kind match, North Kootenai Water and Sewer District time. It's $41,998.46. And Ms. Littlefield, last week, I think there was, the motion had the old grant amount in it. So is this going to cover last week, or are we going to have to address that again?
I believe that we will probably have to, I think I had the wrong amount. I think I had the old grant agreement amount on last week's, and this week is the correct grant agreement amount.
Nope, so we don't.
We don't need to worry about it then. Well, this will take care of it.
Yep.
Okay.
That sounds like it. Well,
Okay.
that was convenient. Okay, questions?
Sorry.
Let's try this again. I move that we approve the grant agreement, use number 23NONE002, amendment to grant use agreement between Kootenai County Office of Emergency Management and North Kootenai Water and Sewer District with the Federal Emergency Management Agency for $419,984.63 with an in-kind match from North Kootenai Water and Sewer District in time in the amount of $41,998.46.
Second.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Okay, well, that takes care of next week's item, too.
Yep.
That's great. All right.
Thank you.
You bet, thank you. All right, here for the airport for half a dozen items, maybe. Item 8, bid award, bid number 24-01, and this is a statement of qualifications for our engineer consulting services in our airport. So, Gasser, Ms. Stevenson, thank you.
Commissioners, Kim Stevenson with the airport for the record. On April 2nd, we opened sealed statements of qualifications for the Coeur d'Alene Airport engineer consulting, engineering and/or planning consultant. We received one bid from Ardura Engineers, and we are here to request that we ask that they are selected as the airport professional engineering and/or planning consultant. And we'll start negotiations and the scope of work, and then we'll come back and see you again.
Perfect. Questions, motion?
No questions. I move that we approve bid award number 24-01, Statement of Qualifications, Engineer Consulting Services with the airport.
Second.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, item 9, bid award. This is to extend Taxiway C and relocate the MALSR, M-A-L-S-R, equipment, and with our airport. Okay.
Kim Stevenson again with the airport. We had another bid opening for our Taxiway Charlie and Relocate MALSR Threshold Light bid. And this is a notice of award to the lowest bidder, Northwest Grading Incorporated. There is a total of 6 schedules that go with that, and the contract price of the award is $4,517,303.78, and this is contingent upon receiving the grant from the FAA later this year.
Okay, I lost track. $4,517,303.78?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
I just want to
sorry.
make sure. No, that's okay. It's a lot of numbers. So, questions, motion?
And there's do you want that in the motion, that dollar amount?
It's a bid award,
Yeah,
so,
so, okay. I move that we approve the bid award, extend the Taxiway C and relocate the MALSR equipment at the airport.
second.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, and then will we have a contract for that too, or is this
That was in there.
kind of the contract that
Oh,
it's both?
You would have a contract coming forward on that
Okay,
as well.
so we'll have it coming forward.
Right.
Okay, so that's perfect.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, number 10, termination of ground lease, AAL 2023-1000, not developing, and this is with CDA Northwest LLC. Ms. Stevenson.
Thank you. We would like to terminate the ground lease. The LLC manager who initially started the lease has decided not to develop the area, and so we would just like to terminate that.
Okay, questions, motion?
I move that we approve the termination of ground lease AAL-2023-1000 with CDA Northwest LLC.
Second.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, item 11, grant application number FAA ARP AIP G24-001, and this is a supplemental discretionary grant application with the FAA in the amount of $2,373,300 with cash match from Fund 30 in the amount of $197,775, which is a 7.5% match, and our airport.
Yes, Gaston Patterson, Airport Director. The airport was notified by the FAA of a supplemental discretionary grant that they're offering to airports of our size, essentially the regional airports. There was an extra $33 million in our region that became available. There are a couple stipulations for this grant outside of the normal AIP schedule. One of them being it has to increase our sustainability and improve the infrastructure at the airport for natural disasters, terrorist attacks, things like that, basically to increase our sustainability. And two, carbon footprint and emission reduction. So upon meeting with our airport engineer, Ardura, it was determined that a suitable project would be to replace the existing runway lights and taxiway lights and approach lights with LED fixtures. So we just had to accomplish this with our 624 project where we did that environment, but our small runway and the remaining taxiways still have the old incandescent style lights. A lot of the conductor is 30 plus years old. The transformers are well on their way to being that old as well. So this would be a pretty good project to solve one of the big issues at the airport with maintenance, essentially. So this is outside of our normal grant cycle. This is a supplementary grant. Like I said, the grant amount, $2,373,300. Cash match of $197,775. That's a 7.5% match. There's a good chance the state will weigh in another 2.5%. So our match will likely go down to the normal 5% that we see. This would be for FY25, and the airport recommends the board allow us to apply for it. This is just the application at this stage, so we would be coming back to you with a contract and
Right.
bid award and everything. So
I thought, when you were talking about it, I thought, oh, what a great grant for our ARF truck. And then you said about the green, I'm like, didn't it have to be electric? So we're not going to do that.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, very limited projects that it would actually fit, but this one would help the airport drastically.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you. Questions, motion?
And I take it that the carbon footprint reduction is LED lights
Correct.
and also less maintenance, less
Yep.
replacing and things like that?
Exactly.
And
Yep.
that's how you meet that requirement?
Mhm.
Okay. I move that we approve the grant application number FAA-ARP-AIP-G-24-001, supplemental discretionary grant application with the FAA in the amount of $2,373,300 with a proposed cash match from Fund 30 of $197,775.
Second.
Commissioner Matari?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 12, this is a financial budget request. It's purchase approval for the landfill Posi-Shell with our solid waste department, and our director, Phillips, please.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. John Phillips for the record. The Solid Waste Department would like your approval to move forward with the purchase of about a year's worth of alternative landfill cover. We use this product nearly daily to cover the garbage as we're putting it in place. As a courtesy to neighbors, we will be planning to purchase green dye to add to this material so it'll look better from a distance. This product is necessary to save landfill space and, like I said, used almost daily. The total price, including shipping, was quoted at $31,774. The department did budget funds to cover these costs.
Okay, questions, motion?
I move that we approve the purchase for the landfill Posi-Shell with solid waste.
Second.
Commissioner Matari?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye. Thank you. Okay, item 13, board approval request, and this is a payment of an invoice per policy 930, much like the last item was, Election Systems and Software LLC, and it's for the May 21st, 2024 primary election. It's the setup and coding with our manager, Asa Gray.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Asa Gray for the record. Before you is a request for approval to pay an invoice for election setup and coding to Election Systems and Software LLC. I was before you just recently for another invoice for them because they do not only the setup and programming of our tabulators and election reporting system, but also the express vote ADA compliant machines that go out to all the polling places for federal elections. They do those as well. So this is just over $10,000. So per policy 930, I'm before you. It is a budgeted cost within our election supplies line item.
All right, questions, motion?
I move that we approve the request to pay the invoice per policy 930 for the Election Systems and Software LLC, May 21, 2024 primary election setup and coding.
Second.
Commissioner Matari?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye, thank you. All right, item 14, this is KCSO, and it's a Stateline law enforcement overtime agreement with Stateline Speedway. And Captain Smart, please.
Thank you, Commissioners. Kevin Smart for the record. This is an agreement that we've been doing for the past several years with Stateline Speedway to cover the costs, reimbursement costs for us to supply them some deputy coverage during 3 events that they have during the year for their Speedway track out there. And so those events, one will be May 11th, one on July 3rd, and then they're on September 21. And so we'd just be looking to entertain that agreement again for them.
Okay, and you have enough bodies to cover that?
Since these are overtime details that are reimbursed, then yes, we'll usually be able to muster up for that.
Okay, thank you. Questions, motion?
I move that we approve the KCSO Stateline LEO overtime agreement with Stateline Speedway and the Sheriff's Office.
Second.
Commissioner Matari?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye. All right, item 15, board approval request. This is a request for 10 patrol vehicles with our Sheriff's Office, and Captain Smart, please.
Commissioners, I brought this forward last week. We were talking about just 2 canine vehicles, and after our further conversations on that, I kind of wanted to just strike that from the record and start over from square one. So we aren't back asking for 2 additional canine plus the 2 last. We were kind of starting over from scratch on this and lumping this back in on one proposal. That proposal would be for the current budget prep that we're looking at presenting is a total of 10 vehicles for this year. 2 of those are canine vehicles and 8 are regular patrol cars. And then again, recent lights have come with 2 vehicles being involved in incidents that are considered total. And again, the biggest pressing matter is again, this open order window that we're in right now versus what that looks like in October. And so our request would be to bring it forward now. We would remove it from our budget request moving forward and have this be the standalone abilities to get in on that order window while it's open, while these costs are currently at the 2025 vehicle numbers and not the future 2026 numbers. And so that request would be for $956,420.
Okay, and then has this gone through fleet management yet?
It has not. We had talked last week, and it's my understanding it was approved to bring it back forward this week to talk further on that.
Okay.
And this was a discussion because of these windows with the dealers or the manufacturer. And the question is, and we had this happen with us earlier within the past year where we had an opportunity to get vehicles at last year's price.
And we did.
So
Yeah, 'cause-
You guys have made great strides over the past years to getting us, back up and running where we're manageable. And this is to keep it moving forward, not losing ground by saying, we are seeing several cars that are at the mileage. We're seeing others that are going to approach there in the future. We also don't want to be strapped when we get back into these 25 and 30 coming back around again. If we can get ahead of this, this should free up some. There's still going to be high mile vehicles, but it's a bigger window for some trickle down abilities. We have several civil vehicles that are getting, they drive more than anybody during the day that are going to be, close to tapping out here soon, as well as a couple of MP vehicles. Again, another one that was recently involved in an incident and is damaged. So this is about maintaining and keeping moving forward while the iron's hot and while we have the ability to get in. Unfortunately, it's just the moving target that we're always in with these right now with the state of the economy on these vehicles.
How long is the window open?
Well, again, there's no destination time on it. It's, they get a number of cars in there and they're going to close it and say, okay, that's too many.
So do
I
we
didn't
have?
specifically talk to them about, hey, do we have 1 week, 2 weeks? It's, and again, they're not willing to really commit to say, oh, you got weeks or you got months. But the fear is that it will be closed by the time September comes and we'll have to wait for it to open up. And by then they're going to retool and go, 25s are done, we're retooling our whole shops for 26, and those are potentially 5 to 10% more.
Sure. I support the idea for sure. I just would like it to go through, I think, fleet management, just to make sure all the i's are dotted and t's are crossed, because I don't think they're going to be, if they just opened up, they're likely not going to be closed in a week. And we just need 24 hours notice anyway for a special meeting. So I'm sure fleet management will get right on this. And
What's their turnaround typically with that?
it depends. I think there's 11 on there, or 10. I think there's 10. So as soon as 6 people answer, then it's a go-ahead.
I understand that that's the process, you know, and I'm sorry that we didn't go through this time. Again, this is just they're ever evolving, and I guess I'm hard pressed to understand what fleet management's going to be able to offer on these things being specific to the sheriff's office, and why their say is so important when this is the need for us, not them. So I would just request that you guys entertain that as, you know, this is for the sheriff's office, and we're driving what the need is and letting you know what that is up front.
Sure, I understand. It's a timing issue, and you guys are part of fleet management. I mean, you sit on fleet management. You have 2 people on fleet management, correct?
There's one, Will Klinkovitz from the sheriff's office.
Russ Trueblood isn't on there anymore?
Well, we haven't had a shop guy traditionally be on there. He lends advice and support through Klinkovitz.
Okay, yeah.
Can we approve it contingent upon fleet management?
Yeah, we can do that.
At least that way we can keep something moving. What would fleet management bring that would be in addition to for the sheriff's office in this particular situation?
Same thing they brought for the juvenile probation, who went through that. So it's the trickle down. It's where are the 45 cars that have been replaced? Have they gone out to auction? Are there any trickle downs that are happening with them? So it's just kind of that process that
Well, we can certainly
I find
continue to
valuable.
drive that discussion with them, you know, and that's perfectly right and correct for us to do. These are the vehicles that we have available for you guys. Are you guys interested in anything like that? I just don't know that should hold up what we can get in today and start prepping and getting the documents. Hey, Mike White, start getting that order locked in for us, and we'll be coming back to you with some purchase orders for those. You know, just if fleet management's going to be saying, hey, what do you have for us trickle down? Yeah, we can have that discussion all day long, but this is about getting in while the window's open.
right, but I mean the window could be open, to your point, 2, 3, 4 months, you know, or it could be a couple weeks. So
Well, let me ask you this though. You're going to need these cars to be, the ones you have now, they need to be rotated out no matter what.
That is
Correct.
correct. Yep. The
I mean,
numbers
they
are going
have
to
to be
dictate that.
rotated out.
Come around this time, by the time we would get those in from the dealership being built for us upfitting them, those other vehicles are going to be beyond their lifespan to say those are slated to go out from the patrol world.
And so then the trickle-down component is where fleet management comes in, where they help to figure out where these cars can fit within the county?
fleet management actually vets the request as well.
Okay, but if,
Making sure, because I mean, what if you turn in your stuff to fleet management and they say you need 10 cars and not 8 cars? You know what I mean? Like for patrol, separate from canines. So, look, it's just a process that we've followed. It's something that's been set up. It's what the other departments follow as well. So that's all I'm asking.
yeah, well, look, I think we should at least approve it with contingency of fleet management, but I do think that we have to be careful that the process doesn't drive the condition. If the condition is that at 100,000 miles, for example, these cars must be rotated out, then fleet management has no say in that.
So I'm not sure, do you remember, Captain, if the policy says shall or may?
I don't know the specific verbiage on that.
I just count on
listen
fleet
to that.
management to give the double check and the okay. So to me, 1 week is not going to close the window, it's not going to put us behind, it's not going to, do all that. We just require other departments to go through fleet management, so that's all I'm saying. So,
Well,
yeah.
why don't we we'll approve it contingent on fleet management.
Okay, Brandy?
I was wondering if we could have a discussion about the funding of
Yeah.
the vehicles. So when Captain Smart had brought forward the 2 K-9 vehicles, Commissioner Matari had kind of asked, is this fund balance or FY25 budget? So We could, so right now there's only $836,000 of fund balance available left for capital purchases. So obviously these cars will be more than that. So you'd have to dip into your money you have set aside for facilities master plan to pay for these out of fund balance in 2024. But that's if payment comes due before September 30th. You could approve them to enter the process for ordering the cars now, and I think Captain Smart had said there's a 40% chance payment will come due by the end of FY24, so you could budget for them in the FY25 budget. So with the understanding if payment comes due before then, you have to pay for them out of your fund balance. So I just wanted some board direction on what you're thinking in terms of paying for them.
Yeah, so that brings up another point too, that we're just about to go into budget season, and so we need to make sure that we have enough to fund all of the emergent requests. And I haven't even seen all the other requests from the Sheriff's Department, so I just want to make sure that that's also something that's taken into consideration. So.
Yeah, so you could approve them to be ordered now, planning on paying for them in the 2025 budget. When I say that, I'm referring to property tax, since these cars are an ongoing expense.
Yeah.
So taxing for them instead of using fund balance. Contingent, if payment were to come due this year, we'd have to pay for them out of fund balance.
Well, I think the discussion was it would be 6 to 8 months until we'd probably get the cars.
That's just the traditional timeframes it's been in the past. I mean, we always cross our fingers hoping that we can get them sooner, but again, this window's been open, so we're probably going to be at the back end of that ordering span. So I imagine that we're going to be looking at the 6 to 8 month window again for those. Mm-hmm. Again, I can't get them to, Mike White they don't want to commit to something, say, it'd be 2 weeks or 4 weeks. So they talk generalities about window dates as well.
I know, it's just pushing, that's a 2% tax increase, right? If all of our stuff stayed the same and this was on top of, I know we're gonna have some flexibility and revenue and stuff like that, but if you're talking about using property tax dollars for this is a 2% tax increase.
Yeah, it's kind of a squishy thing to talk about, because you could also look at the capital requests we levied for last year.
Correct.
And see that they're not happening again this year, so we could be using the
Right.
amount that it's really difficult to line up dollar to dollar and equate
Right.
specific requests to an increase, but I understand your point.
Yeah, so those are all the things that are just converging at once. So I understand about the window and stuff. I just wanted, fleet management's weigh in and be able to process this for another week, but we can,
Make it contingent on fleet management,
Okay.
if
And
they're
are
going to
we
look
gonna-
at it anyhow.
Are we gonna say we'll just budget for it in 2025 and use fund balance if payment comes due before then?
It's a 2025 request, so it should be.
Okay,
We're just shifting the money around based upon it coming in earlier versus later.
okay, so we'll do that.
Replenish fund balance with the FY25 money.
If I may, you're saying contingent upon fleet management. Are you wanting me to work with Mike White to get the purchase orders and get in the order window? Or are you saying just put everything on hold for fleet management?
Actually, that's a good point. So I say that today we can have him go to Mike White and get those purchase orders, and then you bring the purchase orders back to a business meeting, and they will have gone through, you can go through fleet management in between the purchase orders and now.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Anything like that?
Yep.
Okay.
I move that we approve the request for the 10 patrol vehicles with the Sheriff's Office contingent upon fleet management's approval
And the approval of the purchase orders.
and the approval of the purchase orders.
Second.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, item 16, board approval request. This is KCSO North. This is our electrical repairs by CTC and our building and grounds for the Sheriff's Department, Tom Reed.
Have both of them been here. This was discussed in the status update a couple weeks ago, and I finally got it on the business meeting, so it's just to approve CTC to do the work to do the repairs on the electrical.
Was David able to look at this
No,
today?
he left before I could give him a copy of this.
Okay. Well, we've personally seen this document several times. I didn't really have any heartburn on it, and I think it's fine at this point. So do you have any thoughts on that?
No, I
And-
think it's reasonable.
I think it would come, and Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, we still have money set aside in assigned fund balance for KC North. So this is in addition to what they already had budgeted, so we need to use more KC North fund balance for this.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. We did get a updated spreadsheet. I think I'd like something a little bit different in the future, which we can obviously talk to the
Yeah,
lieutenant about that.
We'll work on it. It's a little confusing to me too.
Okay, good. So
So-
we'll work on getting that worked out. But yeah, because we don't actually, right now today, don't have a projection on all the stuff that's
Right.
coming in. So we don't know if this is going to end up at 1.2 million or 1.5 million. So,
And all these reports were added after, so.
right, yep. So, okay, that would be helpful.
Just one thing, I spoke with David Mendez, he was gonna try and call in. He went through the contract and his only concern was that it was said that it was gonna be done over 1 year. The items are to properly label, I guess, circuit breakers and systems like that. He thought that that should be done sooner than later. And then the bottom item is for an annual contract, for, I apologize, I didn't review it, but I think it's $1,700 a year. He just wanted to make sure that,
Yeah, that would be based on how fast he could get to this.
right,
So,
Yeah, I think that was just a budgeting issue. I didn't take that as something that was
David thought it
gonna-
was gonna be a standing annual agreement between the company for, I don't remember if it was $1,400 or $1,700 a year.
So I don't-
Excuse me, Commissioners?
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
Is, David, are you there?
Yes, David Mendez with Turner and Townsend Erie. I just, the only thing the last line in this contract proposal, I just wanted to be clear that the items appear to be code issues, that they're the first few items, and I just wanted to make sure that that's not something you're going to be waiting on for occupancy. The last line talks about $1,750 a month, so it sounds like it's something over a period of a year. But those items that are called out as the first 4 or 5 items are code issues that they would need to get done, I think, right away for occupancy.
yeah, and Charles, who is with CTC, mentioned that it's a time issue, when he could get to it. So that's why we put it on the agenda to get him going as fast as he could. But that is just stretched out up to a year, which ends up being the same total.
Yeah, so I don't really look at it as we're not entering into a yearly contract. It's just for this scope of work, but if we needed to pay for it monthly, that's about how much.
Right.
I kind of read that as that's what he was willing to, how he would spread the work out
If
at a
he needed
minimum.
to, correct.
At a minimum, he would guarantee that this amount, 1,700 or so a month, would be performed.
Correct.
But to David Mendez's point, we probably need to at least have a little more effort put in up front to get
Absolutely.
the big issues
Yeah.
fixed.
It just depends on the scope, what he finds. The labeling is going to be the major issue because, as I mentioned before, all the panels are labeled based on the person in that office, not the actual.
Right, and was Mike willing to come back and help you out with that? I
Mike
think-
suggested we contact Rainbow Electric, who did all the work originally,
Okay,
and I'm still waiting to hear back from him.
okay. All right, so you're still beating down that path?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so are you satisfied, or do you want any changes in the language?
I don't think there needs to be any changes, just as long as it's understood. Tom, you're the one working on this contract, so, obviously, if we're going to have them do the work, my hope is that you'll be on top of them to get as much of it done that you need to get done before people are in there.
Right.
Yeah.
So I move that the board approve the request with KCSO North and the electrical repairs by CTC to professional standards.
Second.
Commissioner Matari?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye. All right, item 17, this is a financial budget request, and this is for the KCSO lobby ballistic panels. And Tom again.
Tom Reed for the record. This is to ask for one approval of this I guess it would be considered a change order, to add Stancraft to do the work that we were planning on doing in the lobby. We're really running thin, so, they offered to do this for $41,000, and that's to complete the 3 offices and all the ballistic panels installed for the lobby.
Does that equate kind of what your labor would be spent on that?
We need,
Or is it more
an
expensive?
additional $21,000 from fund balance, and Brandon can speak to that.
Okay. Okay.
According to Klinkafis's budget, from what I'm being told, they need another 21,000 in fund balance.
Okay.
Have you been out to that building? I have.
Oh, I mean,
They've done a lot of work just recently. And yeah, the part, I mean, first of all, thank you for the work that you and your team has put into it. But you still have your other duties on top of that, right?
Right,
So it's a bandwidth issue.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got one position still open, and it's, out of 18 applicants, they've all been disqualified or quit over the last 18 months. So it's one a month that we're losing, so.
So is there any way to maybe borrow from a different department for a temporary time?
I have no idea, but this would help us out tremendously,
Sure.
especially with the ballistic panels.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is one of those situations where it stinks, but we got to get it done. So, I move that we approve the budget request for KCSO and the lobby ballistic panels in the
Second.
sheriff's office.
Second.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, financial budget for number 18. This is an estimate, 1346 Ferguson Concrete. And Tom again.
This was in the original budget. We originally got a quote from Kinder Concrete, and this new company that we got a quote for that can jump on the project faster is actually $2,297.50 cheaper. So we're just asking for approval to move forward with that project.
All right, and this is one of the outbuildings?
Yeah, it's the big lean-to that's got the 5 bays that needs a floor.
Okay, thank you.
No. I move that we approve the, excuse me, estimate 1346 Ferguson Concrete in the sheriff's office.
Second.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, item 19, final item, Tom. Board approval request. This is from KCSO Maintenance, and it's a replacement of their grounds vehicle. And we talked a little bit about this morning, but might as well get it on the record this afternoon.
Tom Reed for the record again. There's a correction on one of the vehicles, the diesel. It is a quad cab regular bed. It's not a dual, and it's used, and it's a 2500, but it is cheaper, about $3,000 cheaper. So there's that
Okay.
option. It's a
It's a
2022.
diesel,
and it's got,
though?
yeah,
Okay. But,
it's got 30,000 miles on it, and it's 2 years old. So.
okay, and what is the price on that one?
$51,980. And I think the one I put in for was 54 something, so it's about $3,000
Yeah, 50.
cheaper.
Look here. 54,964. Do you have any other maintenance vehicles that are diesel?
No.
And
Other
then-
than well, we have the front loader, but that's it.
Right, but you don't have any pickup trucks.
No.
So what kind of added maintenance and stuff is this going to be? If you've got to plug the truck in, you're going to be plowing?
I mean, diesel's, it's gonna last longer,
Mm-hmm.
but it is a 2500 as opposed to the 1 ton, so.
But don't we need the 3500 for the,
For the tank,
tank?
yeah, we have to put
The-
a smaller
the
tank in the
350.
back.
but you want a diesel or you want the
I'd
capacity?
rather get the gas, but I just wanted to mention the correction that I told this morning was, I thought it was a dually, but it's not. So it's the same footprint,
Okay.
size-wise, just it doesn't have the same capacity.
We're paying $3,000 more for a brand-new vehicle that fits 100% of what you want.
Right. I just wanted to bring that up.
So,
Let's get it.
okay,
And it will come from fund balance.
like everything else.
Thank you.
I was putting it in for this FY '25, but because it broke down, I took it off, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is it
You
something
should-
you need today?
Yeah, it's our grounds truck.
Yeah.
You should keep it in FY '25, and we'll just use fund balance until we,
I don't think it works that way, but
We
Brady?
can't because payment will come due in FY '24. So we wouldn't be able to move money from '25 back to '24 to pay for it.
But
they already
likely,
have it.
It's on the lot now.
yeah, and that's the key is these trucks, you don't come across them really for this amount of money, so. Motion.
I move that we approve the request for KCSO maintenance and the replacement of the grounds vehicle.
Second.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Item 20, this is a public hearing notice, and it's FY '25 Kootenai County Public Transportation Program of Projects. This is a public hearing. Are there any folks here that are going to testify for or against the program of projects? All right, we'll go ahead and start with Chad, and then,
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Chad Engel with the Transit Department for the record. This is the public hearing for our fiscal year '25 program of projects as published in the Coeur d'Alene Press on March 23rd, 2024. Our office has not received any comments as of today, and so this is an annual requirement for our FTA 5307 funding, and our proposed program of projects was approved by the board prior to the publication at the March 19th, 2024 business meeting.
any questions for Chad?
No.
Okay, anyone on the line or on the phone wanting to make public comment? All right, hearing none, I would take a motion to end public comment and enter into deliberations.
I move that we end public comment for FY '25 Kootenai County Public Transportation Program of Projects and enter into deliberations.
Second.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. I think we've been over this a couple times. They haven't received any public comment or interest at that matter, so I don't have a problem with the program of projects.
Yeah. I move that we approve the FY '25 Kootenai County Public Transportation Program of Projects.
Second.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, item 21, board approval request, and this is for Kootenai County Public Transportation FY '25 Program of Projects, FY '24 full year apportionment.
Yes, thank you, Commissioners. Chad Engel with Transit Department for the record again. So on March 19th, we brought before the board our program projects with the partial year apportionment. Since this time, we have received our full year apportionment from FTA and wanted to bring it before the board for approval. The program projects has not changed other than the update to the annual apportionment. So everything that was in the public hearing and published is still current. And this just reflects our full year apportionment. This has been reviewed and approved by legal, and it was under their guidance that we just bring it before you to let you know about the update.
Okay, so you require a motion to accept the full apportionment, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, just one question. This match, it's not all cash, correct?
The match on the pop, no, it's not.
Yeah, it's largely in kind.
That is a large portion of it. Yeah, capital projects is where we use mostly the cash.
Yeah,
cash.
okay. It just says match, and it doesn't really clarify that.
Yeah, just for FTA purposes, they just require us to say
Yep.
match on that. Yep.
Okay. I move that we approve the request for the Kootenai County Public Transportation FY '25 Program of Projects with the FY '24 full year apportionment.
Second.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Okay, item 22, this is grant closeout, ID-2021-025, and it's with the Federal Transit Administration, the amount of $172,470. No match requirements. Mr. Engel, please.
Yes, thank you, Commissioners. Chad Engel with the Transit Department for the record again. So we are requesting approval to close out this grant with the intention of deobligating the remaining funds to be utilized on a new application. So once the funds are deobligated, we can bring the new application before the board for approval. So we expended all the funds that we could to this portion for this. We're going to then deobligate so that we can use it on the further application. The original grant application was for the purchase of our fixed route buses. And in order for us to use the funds before the performance period ends, FTA recommended that we deobligate them so that we can put them into a different application and use those funds.
Okay. Questions?
No questions.
Okay, motion.
I move that we approve the grant closeout, number ID-2021-025, with the Federal Transit Administration in the amount of $172,470, and of course, no match requirement on this.
Second.
Commissioner Matari?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye. All right, public comment? Sure, come on up.
Thank you, Ron Hartman, for the record. Simple question. Item 16 for the electrical repairs, what's the total cost for that?
So about 19,000 and some change, just under 20,000.
Thanks.
And that's if all the man-hours that they projected would work out to that. So, yeah, thank you. All right, any other public comment? Nope. All right, 2:46 meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.